Hi, I'm Curt Frye, and in this movie, I'd like to talk to you about Excel tables. Excel tables are terrific for managing data, and if you're using plain vanilla data lists, which are just ranges of cells, then I think you'll find tables will make a lot of tasks that you do by hand now much easier. So I'll start with this list of data that I have in my sample file. So I have monthly sales data for the years 2022 through 2023. And then I also have an index column that I'll show you how to use in a few minutes. To create an Excel table, you need to have an unbroken list of data with no blank rows. So in this case, going from A1, which has my headers, down to A25, there are no blank rows. I have a blank column, except for the column header at the top, and that's okay. What I wouldn't want would be to have, say, all of these cells be blank, and I'll delete to demonstrate, because this would be one table, and this would be another. And I'll press Control-Z to undo that deletion. Creating an Excel table is pretty straightforward. The keyboard shortcut on Windows is to click any cell within the body of the data and then press Control-L. The Create Table dialog appears, asks where the data is, and it's correctly identified it. And it also has identified that the table has headers. And those are the differently formatted values in the first row. So I'll click OK. And Excel has applied the default formatting for my Excel table. If I want to change the table style, then I can go over to the Table Styles gallery, and this is in the Table Design contextual tab on the ribbon, which appears when you click a cell within the table. And from here, I can select any one of the styles. In this case, I'll do this one here with light green. And there's one thing that you should notice, and that is that even though there is no separately formatted header row here, the existing formatting that I had has been retained. So even though everything else is green, and in this case it would be white for the header, the black and boldface was retained. To do that, you can right-click any of the table styles from the Styles gallery. So I'll click here, right-clicking it, and the default action is to apply and maintain formatting. That's why I have the black background and white text here. Or I can apply and clear formatting. So I'll click that, and you can see that the format that I selected has been applied, and it replaced everything that was there already. One last thing that I'll do is to name the table. This will make it easier when I create formulas based on the data. So again, on the Table Design Contextual tab, I'll go over to Properties at the left side of that ribbon tab, and I'll call it Sales Data, and enter. So that is the table's name now. There are a lot of other things that you can do to change the formatting and function of the Excel table. The most useful one that I found is to add a total row. So I have sales, and again, on the Table Design Contextual tab, I will check the total row box, and here I have the total that's been added. And you can change the summary by clicking the total cell, and then clicking this down arrow and selecting the function that you want to apply, but in this case, I'm not going to bother. And if you have more than one column of data that you want to summarize, you can click in those cells, and in this case, I'll click Count so that I can see how many values I have. Entering formulas in an Excel table is also pretty straightforward, and you'll see that it lets you skip a step for copying the formula down. So let's say that for my index values, and that'll be the first column of my table that's currently blank, I want to have a number that is sequential, starting at 1, for each of the rows in my Excel table. So in A2, I'll type equal, and then row, which returns the row of the current cell if you put no value between the left and right parentheses. And I want to start at 1 rather than 2, so I will subtract 1 and press enter. And doing so generates the values, and it automatically copies the formula down. So you can see I have row -1, there row -1, and so on. If I add a new row, so for example, if I go down to D25 and press tab, then adding the new row copies the formula down, and I'm now on row 25, and I can add the value for January 2024 when I have it available. Now, one final thing that I will demonstrate is how to use a column from an Excel table as a named range. So I'll click in cell G3, and I'll say equal sum, because I want to find the sum of the values, and I will click the header of the sales column in the table, and you can see that when my mouse pointer changes to a downward pointing black arrow, that I can select the entire column. So I'll click that, and note that it included the blank cell in row 26, but did not include the total. So I have sales data of sales, so that's the name of the table, and then the name of the column. Round parentheses and enter, and I get my total. Now I can add a new row of data. So for the year, in the row labeled as index 25, I'll type 2024, then January, and I'll add 100,000. So 100,000. Count the number of zeros, press enter, and there we go. So a couple of things to note. The total row, total updated for that column, and also the formula in G3 updated because we added a new value to the column. What didn't happen is that the formatting from the cell above did not carry down within the table. And the reason is that when I created the table, and I'll go back up to the Format as Table control on the Home tab of the ribbon, click that, and then right-click Style, I selected the Apply and Clear Formatting option instead of Apply and Maintain Formatting. And that means that the formatting went away, and I have a general value here of 100,000 instead of carrying over the formatting from above. To apply formatting to all the data values in a column, move the mouse pointer over the column header, and as before, you can see it turns to a downward pointing black arrow. Click to select it all, and then apply the formatting however you like. In this case, I'll go to the number group on the Home tab, click the Accounting Number Format control, and then I'll decrease the number of decimal places to 0 because, in fact, I do not have any cents in this data. So I will double-click the Decrease Decimal Values button, and then click away, and the formatting has been applied. Excel tables are one of the best ways that you can use to organize and refer to your data within a Microsoft Excel worksheet. I hope you've enjoyed the techniques that I've shown, and if you did, please like the video and subscribe to my channel.